Tower, Honister, Lawton, Hamilton, over to nearly Cockney School and then over Higham. Then where they go? Oh, back up 66 to Braithwaite, Keswick. 42 anyway.
42 miles.
Yeah.
You shrug your shoulders
Well,
like it's now.
Just riding a bike. No problem going up Honister. Bike's got gears and Billy's got gears still. So far so good. It'll come to an end someday and then I'll get electric in. My old neighbour there, I think he's coming up 87 and he's been over Honister and Newlands.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So how important has the cycling become for you then?
You couldn't have got me on a bike when I was a runner. Very odd time when I was injured. I would get on a bike, but all I wanted to do was get off it. Yeah, I had no feeling for cycling. Took running as far as I could and was getting worse at it. So got my first bike when I was 57 and then got into the sportives and started going abroad. Geneva, Nice and crossed Pyrenees for Perpignan to Biarritz and fantastic. I love it. Ankles aren't what they used to be, or cushion's gone out of them, so...
You need to find an alternative that's easier on the ankle.
Yeah, heart and lungs I think are all right, but all limbs is had enough for that caper anyway.
But still exhilarating, something that still gives you a real buzz.
Oh, get a buzz out. Aye, now I do, aye. Like coming downhill and sweeping round corners on tail or somebody, yeah, I can get a real buzz out of it. My mate, Dr. Wilson, who I ride with quite a bit, got us into it, went to Workington and bought my first road bike for us. And I said, I'm not paying over 500 for a bike. And he went in shop and I think it should have been 750. And I was walking out of the shop and he shouted him back. And anyway, so he landed with this bike for 500. And since, having said I would never pay more than 500 for a bike, then yes, I have. Kept the old engine ticking hour anyway.
Yeah, so how competitive do you get then with the cycling?
Well, I've just about let it go, but up till 2 years ago, I was still trying to get better, silly old fool. Actually, Fred Whitten time, I think I got my best time when I was just short of 64. And I've been trying since I was 57. So I was still progressing. I was certainly holding it or getting better because it was something new. You have to build up different muscles and learn how to feed yourself, and that's something that probably didn't do as a runner, which is now coming to, you start to question yourself what you've done wrong. And of course, while you're doing it, you think you know it all, and obviously you don't.
Hey, this is Billy Bland, the perfectionist, talking, isn't it? Always in the pursuit. Pursuit's a good word to use when you're talking cycling as well, but always in pursuit of being the best that you can be, whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
Whether that's you building a wall,
what is the
or
point
running,
of,
or cycling.
You get up with a purpose and be as good as you can be at what you're doing. Well, that's me anyway. I wouldn't have it any other way. When you were a runner, you were a head banger because you trained too hard. Didn't do so bad for a head banger, did you?
You didn't do so bad, and you did well enough for people to want to write biographies of you. Which I've got to say, I was mildly surprised that you'd even agreed to.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't for my wife, it wouldn't have happened, I don't think. Steve come and interviewed us once or twice, and each time I knew he was coming, I said to Anne, I was going to stop him. I was not comfortable with this. And Anne was saying he's put a lot of work into it. And then I never did say yes, but I didn't say no. And I just couldn't see that anybody would want to buy it and want to know what I'd done anyway. Now he just a lad from out of a valley that did what he wanted to do. I wouldn't say I was still comfortable with it, but it's there.
The thing that I found fascinating about it in particular was that it gave me a new perspective, because if you say Billy Bland, probably to most people, they think Bob Graham, and they don't necessarily know anything about that incredible track record of some of those races that you won time after time after time, and also the people that you were competing against. And what a generation of runners it was.
Yeah, 80s, yeah. As I've said and probably said in the book, Bob Graham was never a great importance to me. I always knew the record was crap as it was standing, but because you were racing and them races were more important to you, it just kind of got shelved for a year or two, and then you thought, well, better have a go at it, just satisfy my curiosity as to kind of what time it could be done in. And now I look back on it and think, well, one, I should have gone faster, because I probably was capable of going faster on the day, but why would you? Somebody gone out onto the fell and met you and you'd taken a cup of tea and a sandwich, and so you stopped, and even although if you didn't have the tea and the sandwich, you would thank them for coming and pass time of day with them. Old Joss would shake my legs, nail a shake as they call it.
Oh, I love that.
On top of you, and I didn't think it was out wrong with us, but Joss wanted to show us out.
So you laid flat on
nail
your
a
back
shake
and he
would shake your legs, and various things I can think of on the way around where there was minutes of slipped away. But it didn't matter then, because I knew I was going to be fastest, and that isn't why I didn't go to be the fastest. I went it to satisfy my own curiosity. It's been a target, isn't now, because Killian's got it. Yes, he's better than me, but I don't think he's an hour better than me. I really took to him. I like him. He's just a fellow runner, ordinary lad who likes doing what he's doing. So.
I did think that was a rather wonderful thing, because I remember having the conversation with you the previous summer, and you saying about, well, you weren't bothered. Folk had shown it our much respect.
Yeah,
and that you would like it to be a local runner, but it was about time somebody did it. But I think then when he came, he was so humble. He showed you and actually everybody else and this place, in fact, so much respect that I think he won a lot of people over, including you.
Oh, absolutely. I just saw him as a typical fell runner from over here, even though he's a professional athlete. He just has arms, legs and heart and lungs like Billy Blunt. So whatever he's got, he didn't fall out of bed and be that good. He's earned the engine that he's got. I refer to an engine because you don't start this game and be good straight away.
That was another thing I didn't realise, how it was quite a slow burn for you as well. And also I think, you know, you weren't that fussed about it to start with, were you, when you were doing those odd pro races? I mean, you didn't take anything like it seriously.
Race. No, it was football.
Football,
was
yes.
more important till us then.
What do you think it was that made you catch the bug? Do you think it was the competing side of it? Or do you think it was just the thing of you getting home from work and then going straight back out of your back door and being free in all this?
Yeah, that was part of it. I liked what I was doing. You get up there and whatever, maybe I had a shit day at work and I'm not a great people person, and if somebody got on my bloody nerves through the day, then that was a perfect way to get it out of your system, get your training done and then get away to bed, because that's where you recover the best. I used to beat kids to bed, like pull curtains to make it dark, because I knew that if you were tired, you're less likely to turn out next day. But if you're not turning out, I knew the opposition would be turning out, and I never considered myself that talented, so I knew the only way to be a winner was to do more than they were doing.
And my goodness, did you ever do that? I find that really, really interesting, because it's that whole like nature-nurture thing. You know, what you're given, what you're born with, and what you work so hard to acquire for yourself.
Yeah.
That proportion, I mean, you were maybe a little bit modest on how much actual talent you have, but the work side was phenomenal. And, you know, these days, people they wouldn't let you do it. There were, you know, any coach would be like freaking out.
That's right. You'd have to have a day off through the week. As regards talent, then I definitely had a talent for running downhill. It's just a God-given thing. Most of us blams are good downhill runners. Now why that is, I wouldn't know. But it's a confident thing again, and I probably all tend to be more confident than we should be, but we never doubt ourselves. That seems to be a trait in the family. But as for running uphill, then that just is work. The more you do, the better you get.
You are incredibly single-minded though, aren't you?
Yes, and that's what you're supposed to be. It's between your lugs is what counts. If the drive's there, then you'll achieve almost whatever you want to achieve.
Mind you, you can't achieve it if you don't have a support network at home.
Oh.
And my goodness, we need to talk about Anne here.
Aye, absolutely.
Don't we really?
Yeah.
Because there aren't that many women that would really put up with that, Billy. To be fair, you're out at work all day and she has the kid and you come home and you're straight back out again. And your parting shot out the door will be, well, I didn't know where I'm going.
Yeah,
I'll be back when I'm back.
Yeah, but to be fair, I classed it as teamwork, and I think she goes along with that. She brought kids up and stayed at home. She wasn't going out to work. I was going out making a living. And she absolutely loved the scene. I'll say it again now, I said it to one or two, but when I started cycling, she absolutely wouldn't talk about cycling. And I've said it to her that if I'd been a dog, I'd have been running yet. She'd have taken us at race and expected me to run.
That does come over as well, I think, how much she enjoyed it and how much she loved the social side of it and the crack of it. Yep. But also watching you, how knowledgeable about other runners as well. And
like a mother, she's a people person. If it had been a horrendous day, I wouldn't ask her to go up there, but she liked to go up there because she would be seeing how the race developed, and she was all grumpy, and then I would tell her off because she hadn't screwed top off her. I wasn't quite standing in the right spot, which is very unfair. But
in a way, how much of a relief has it been that finally somebody's come along and taken that Bob Graham from you.
Yes, I was getting sick of hearing about it actually, and Killian was supposed to be coming for 3 or 4 years, and I did say he wants to be getting sell off, and I was pleased to see it, and very pleased that it happened in my lifetime, and to see the person that did it. After 30 odd years, you know, the same old thing. Nobody would talk about that you won 9 Wasdales or
Exactly.
9 year on trot. To think about turning up on that day, 9 years on trot, and be fit enough to win it, then it takes a bit of doing, doesn't it? Borrell, 10 times did I win. But nobody seemed to mention them, the runners that you were competing with, and we're well aware of that. But I've become known as the person who used to hold the Bob Graham, or did at the time hold Bob Graham record.
I think maybe then one of the really valuable things that this book does is it puts it in context rather than you being known for just that one thing.
I hope that people can look at it and realise that when they first try it, they don't have to be a winner right away. And I actually feel sorry for a kid who wins a race right away, because there's only one way for him after that. You either stay up there winning or you drop off. And then most kids who've been good as kids, they can't handle it and they drop out of the sport. But having taken quite a few years to build up to getting better, and that was their enjoyment, getting better, rather than actual winning, bit of an anticlimax once you win, because you're then there. You're there to be knocked off your perch, aren't you?
And knowing when to stop as well, that's the other thing.
I think so, yeah. One of my other sports is horse racing, and if you took a horse into the paddock and it was limping, you'd be told to take it home. If you went to a fell race and watched a lot of the runners, especially the older ones, limping before they started, then I think it's time to just question what you're in. I admire the spirit, but I don't know, maybe should get themselves a bike.
What was it for you that clinched the deal about stopping? Was it just that you weren't actually enjoying it anymore? Was it hurting too much?
I can't claim that. What I would say was fire kind of went out. I knew that I'd taken it as far as I could, and I wasn't going to get any better, and in fact I was getting gradually worse. Age group wise, I was still doing as well as anybody in that age, but it just didn't appeal to me. I've been there, done that. When you've been there for quite a lot of years, then there are plenty of other things to do.
Yeah, well, like the cycling. And you've been blessed with this ideal training ground for both your running and for your cycling.
Yeah. Just fortunate that the Borrell race started, because if it had been something, me gone and at that time gone down into Wales to run ground I didn't know, and that I don't think I'd have bothered. I'd have kept on with my football or something else. So if it wasn't for the start of the Borrell race and what it meant, there was lads coming from Lancashire and that you'd never seen before, and fairly big reputations and this, that and t'other, and you found out you could mix it with them, not so bad. As it probably says in the book, that this is the most important thing for me. You are what you are at home, and if you're out at home, you'll be out wherever you are. This was my Olympics, just about, to win this up here. We're sitting here on the bridge, and I was born half a mile down the road, so I've never seen out else really. Well, hadn't for a long time. And the Alps are very nice, Pyrenees are very nice, but this is my patch. None of it mine, but I look on it as mine. I must have damn near stepped on every square yard there is in Borrell over the years. My ambition now is to waken up every day for yanting. The other is to ride the bike, and then everything has to fit around that.
I don't want to be morbid here, but I remember when I talked to you last, you telling me about Bob Graham's gravestone.
Yeah.
So if there was one that said Billy Bland, would it say Billy Bland fell runner, Billy Bland cyclist, Billy Bland brilliant stonemason, or...
Billy Bland, born in Borrell. That's me.